If we only discuss our victories and not our struggles, we allow others to believe that you can win a war without engaging in battle. That, my friends, is what I call living an illusory existence. Simply put, living a lie. Thank you, universe, God, Buddha, whatever our perceptions of our higher selves might be. I give thanks and gratitude for the battles fought and victories won, because they have molded me into who I am. I'd like to begin by giving a tribute to my parents, who taught me at a very early age the importance of words. The tribute to my parents, like the phoenix, I will rise from the ashes of my pain to show the world my birth is not in vain. Move mountains that have stood in my way, knowing they are challenges that must be overcome. Without being dismayed, and I shall not be swayed, mountains, get out of my way. Obstacles on the roads of life leads to signposts where we must strive to reach the destination of our own choice, using wisdom as our guide. With courage as our companion and eyes opened wide, let not fear deter me now. Compassion, lend me strength somehow. Let me not complain nor blame those who have loved or loved me not, but instead forgive and sincerely thank all my teachers in this life that I've lived. For those who blame will lose their power. Opportunities missed at the crucial hour. What then is life? Where is the gain if we lament each and every moment of the day? For without pain there is no gain, and what a shame if we are really born in vain. Having transformed the loneliness of youth, I've used it as a guide to find my inner truth. No more tears about the past, but will heal this broken heart at last. It is my vow to use this life to create something that will forever last. Thank you, dear mother, for setting me free when you taught me how I should be. Written in Jamaica, 2002. Winds of Change, written in London in the 1990s at some point. Oh, what a change in my relations. I'm finally in control of my emotions, no longer haunted by love's locomotion. What a fabulous transition. The dream is now a reality. No more worries about infidelities, but warm thoughts and tranquility, born of the knowledge that comes with my new identity. Sweet winds of change have blown my way from life in disarray. The bell of change have chimed today. They have signaled in my dawn of change. Communication, written in Prague, 2010. Communication, humanity's connection, must never be neglected. It's our vibration. Understand this, people, or we run the risk of total isolation, which breeds fear and utter frustration. No communication brings inner stagnation, for that is how we develop human relations with one and all, without which our lives will stall. Like flowing water, renewed and refreshed, no risk of stagnation when we practice communication. Guess what, folks? It's never too late to communicate. Never close that gate, or it might be too late when we begin to hate. Wars and conflicts we then contemplate, like the lifeblood that flows from the human heart. When communication breaks down, we all fall apart. We begin to repeat that cycle of fear that only leads to defeat. So let's make a vow to begin from now that we'll begin to communicate, an art which is vital to humanity's fate. Remember that it all starts within the heart. We're all a link in the universal chain, and when we insist on inflicting pain in this domain, then that chain is broken and we all die in vain. Renegade, written in Prague, 2010. What you think of me is of no consequence, you see. Free-spirited and wild, I operate pretty much like a child. I move through this world of my own volition, ask not for your approval or permission. Don't like control or manipulation. These eyes can see through the falseness of some people's niceness. For family, friends, or foe, you have got to know, I despise all forms of jealousy. Likewise, I hate bureaucracy, all enemies of the human entity. So if you're self-possessed and overly obsessed with fame, not to mention attention-seeking and always playing games, you're not welcome in my presence. Don't need the pollution of my essence. Please, Mr. Politician, don't tell me who my enemies are, and all your excuses why we must go to war. I have fought too hard to do my human revolution, so thank you so much for all your information. For in this strife-filled world where we live, have we not observed enough to have realized that the enemy abides nowhere but in the human heart? Realize the device is meant to control us. Only through division can they conquer, which is the eternal mission of the forces who have tried to blur humankind's vision. This is a commentary on the paradoxical nature of the forces who have tried to control humanity. Lady of the Ten Worlds, written in New York, 1998. Inspired by my mentor's mirror guidance and the principle of the 10 worlds inherent in human life. I am a woman. Like an onion, you can peel me. There are oh so many, many layers to me, each revealing something new. I am fire, sometimes water, the Buddha's child, the demon's daughter, sometimes darkness, and then brilliant light. I am the raging storm, the quiet calm, the autumn breeze, the summer's warmth, the winter's chill. Whomever I am, it is my will, because I am the lady, lady of the 10 worlds. One truth of which I am now certain, and don't you ever be mistaken, a Buddha I am and will always be. There is no taking that away from me. My mirror I will polish day after day. Nothing will stop me till my mirror is clear. Each step of the way, the clearer I see, and more than often these days I see that the Buddha in life's mirror is me. Because I am the lady, lady of the 10 worlds. If your image in life's mirror is clouded, you too can polish until you can see your reflection in each and every human being. This mirror is meant for one and all. Don't you ever doubt that you too can stand tall, because we are all people, people of the 10 worlds. Inertia, written in London. Human suffering everywhere, all throughout our globosphere. Civil wars, strife, and genocide. Who are the people who will decide to take action on every side? Politicians, most of whom recoil from the suffering which seems so vile. No one hastens to the aid of fellow humankind who are being defiled and whose countries have no oil. New leaders needed on every side, and whose compassion will turn back the tide. Leaders capable of making strong decisions, those who have the greatest vision for humanity's survival and our eternal mission. This is a commentary on the period of time in the early 1990s, written in London at the time of the civil war in the former Yugoslavia, where ethnic cleansing was in progress. It seemed the world looked on and did nothing until some 10 years later. Anger, written in Prague, 2016. Anger, the human tsunami of the soul, leaves utter devastation in its wake. Emotional detonation causes the earth to quake. Anger, like a great wave, when uncontrolled, destroys in its path and results in wars. Explosions on earth, always a mess. Anger's no different, we must confess. Like weapons of mass destruction, if left unchecked, anger destroys the very being from which it springs. When transformed into passion for peace, brings human awareness of injustice, should not be acted upon out of malice, until we learn that self-mastery is the key. Humanity collectively cannot truly be free. Procrastination was written in New York when I realized that we all suffer from what I term a dreaded affliction. It is meant to have audience participation, but I shall read it as it is now. Procrastination can alter one's destination, causes self-flagellation, and in all cases, undue frustration. Certainly, in my experience, there have been attacks of hyperventilation. Procrastination, mother of fear and indecision, will interrupt your every mission, leaves you in a quandary, and causes complete paralysis of one's motivation, with no end in sight to all those well-meant determinations. Procrastination. So concerned have I become about this dreadful human condition, I have decided to find a remedy in the form of a potion that I believe will provide a lasting immunization against the dreaded affliction that is called procrastination. Procrastination should be added to every medical journal so that a suitable antidote could be purchased on prescription to counteract the deadly poisons of this most debilitating affliction affecting the world's inhabitants and otherwise known as procrastination. If I were a scientist, I could never resist but develop this perfect potion. Then you would, no doubt, know of my success, and that's when you'd read all of my promised publications, and only then could we all hope to share in that long-awaited immunization against that deadly foe called procrastination. This is written in London, 1993, as a dialogue with the universe. Teach me to love again. Like a dove of peace, let me soar again. Teach me to trust. To live my life completely, I must. Teach me to transcend my fears. Show me those of which I'm unaware. Give me the hope I need to maneuver the slopes I meet. Lead me to the source of that inner fountain to climb life's steepest mountains. Help me to keep that smile while I run life's marathon miles. And if at times the tears do flow, let me not bend too low. Each time I stumble, and if I fall, let me rise above it all. Give me the will when weariness sets in to continue life's journey without standing still. Love and Respectfully Yours, written in New York, 1998, based on a Buddhist guidance and philosophy by the Buddha, which says when we face the image in the mirror and we bow respectfully, that image bows back to us. The same applies to love relationships. Love and Respectfully Yours. Like mirrors we reflect, each person we meet has a unique effect, Our moods and our attitudes, be they hope, disrespect, or gratitude, hunger, strife, will all be reflected in this mirror called life. So when into life's gigantic mirror we gaze, at times I'm sure we will all be amazed. There's no place to hide. Life's mirrors are bright. But if we can some courage find, some negative reflections need not blow our minds. For if fearlessly we face the offensive foes, be they hunger, hell, stupidity, or greed, never doubt that we can all defeat these parasitic fiends on which human beings do feed. Respect must be the soil in which love grows. Together they form the ocean from which relationships flow. From childhood this should be taught to one and all, lest later in life this becomes our downfall. Since without respect, love cannot be declared. And if you don't believe this, we're deluded, I fear. For if one thinks that love stands alone, we may not have earned respect on our own. Shadow Man is a commentary on people who have fought in wars. This is about a New York man who had fought in 2 wars. I met a man who had been to war. He was sent away to fight in several wars and wandered very far. Even though he has survived, there are a multitude of scars. Now he has returned, and when he's asked the lessons learned, he simply sighs, scratches his head, as if spiritually dead. Each human being represents a link in the universal chain. When one is maimed, it becomes a wound in the universal domain. I saw that man who had been to war. His soul seemed scarred, as all those are who have engaged in wars. Shadow people who never questioned why they were being sent to wars. I felt compassion for this man who had been on this misguided mission. His eyes were wild, his face was ravaged, his very profile seemed so savage by what he'd seen on all those terrible battlefields. Now luckily he's back, but he seemed so sad, always courteous, never quite sober, and has become, indeed, the shadow of a man. Until we learn as human beings that we must kill the will to kill, that all lives are worthy of respect, and begin to learn the universal law that each cause we make has a unique effect. Until then, it is my hope that upon this thought we will all reflect.